What I'd like to do now is to introduce our next speaker, who is here today representing the City of Calgary, our Councillor Diane Colley-Urquhart. Councillor Colley-Urquhart is recognized as a dynamic community leader and a senior member of Calgary City Council. She's currently serving her 6th term in office as an elected official, representing Ward 13 and Calgarians for more than 15 years now, right, Diane? Yep. Councillor Colley-Urquhart holds a BSc in Health and Human Services and has had a nearly 40-year career as a registered nurse. Among her many appointments, she is a member of the Standing Policy Committee on Planning and Urban Development, and her diverse experience in health and human services as well as in business and community service has given Diane a very intimate understanding of some of the problems that we're facing today. Please join me in welcoming Councillor Diane Colley-Urquhart.
Good morning, everybody. After that healthy breakfast out there, my goodness, it looked awesome. Actually, I'm not Diane Colley-Urquhart today, Deputy Mayor. I'm Naheed Nenshi, Mayor Nenshi. I'm a stand-in, actually. His Worship wanted to be here today, had planned to be here today, as the organizers know, and was called to Edmonton. And when you're called to Edmonton, that's a good thing sometimes. So we're hoping that he comes back with some good news for us next week. Shaping cities and I do this all the time, right? I never read the notes. Yeah, shaping our cities and shaping ourselves, and I suppose you could reverse the order. I was asking some friends when I came in, did you use the word resilient before the flood? Because it's been substituted now from grassroots to resilience, and I love the word resilience. But on that note, it's amazing how a disaster, a traumatic event, can absolutely bring out the very, very best in people. And how about His Worship Naheed Nenshi? Let's give him a hand in his absence. I mean, it's been wonderful working with Naheed in the last 3 going on 4 years, to have someone of his intellect and to have an academic to elevate the conversation that we have about the future of our city in the way that he can. To have an individual such as His Worship, who was very engaged early on in the whole Imagine Calgary movement, and I know many of you in this room have worked with Naheed over the years, so it's been amazing, and I love coming to events like this, being with other professionals, because I really value my healthcare profession to this day. I still carry on and practice nursing, because it gives you some credibility when you're dealing with many of the public health and wellness issues that we want to address, especially at the council table. And the first order of government really, in my view, has always been the one that makes the greatest amount of difference in the lives of people every single day. And so when I see a group of people like yourselves here today, that brings so much expertise and experience and skill, and the synergy that can bring together today in the dialogue that you will have, really showcases what Calgary's all about. We never ever start from ground zero in this city. We have a tremendous lift from over the years of the partnerships that we formed. And as a police commissioner, I'm always intrigued with Chief Rick Hansen. Many of you have met him. Have you ever met our chief? Let me see. Anybody? Yeah. Talk about someone that looks about community safety and wellness and prevention and partnerships and tackling problems early on, especially with our young children and so on, and families. Because at the end of the day, it really is about our quality of life and how we're going to interact and live together to build a greater city. And as Naheed often says, to build a better city. A word that may seem overused, but a word that I love. Then we were fortunate enough to attract the stellar leadership of Roland Stanley to the City of Calgary, who I know you'll be hearing from a little bit later. And even if he's out there, I know you'll hear from him in here. But talk about a dynamic leader at a time in our city when we absolutely are going to move on to bigger and greater things in this city. And tragedy such as the flood gives us the opportunity to do things a little bit differently and to build something even greater. And I know for a long time at council, when we have public hearings, we'll often talk, we have these land use items coming forward. But really, you know what? It's not really about land use. It's about people, right? And how people are going to live and where they're going to live. I know in the notes that I should read that Naheed gave me, he often says that, when we're transforming the city and we're moving in different directions, we don't want this reliance on the car. And I thought, he just wants me to say those words so he can come back on me. I'm a suburban alderman, I represent nearly 250,000 people down south. Many of them have 4 cars in their driveways. But I know over the years and some of the health initiatives I've tried to bring to the council table, whether it's been the whole telework movement and transforming work and where you do work, but I know what a struggle it's been to try to get people to carpool. And we did carpool.ca about 7-8 years ago, and still 1 out of 8 people are in a car, by themselves. So we still have a lot of work to do in these areas. But whether it's a smoke-free Calgary, whether it's dealing with the obesity of our children, I think that all of you here today are committed to really bringing a lot of inspiration and new ideas. And people like His Worship, Naheed Nenshi, he's just like a sponge with things that you'll come up with today. And then you have other of my colleagues like John Carlo Carra, who is a professional urban planner as well. So we're there to hear the great ideas that will be spawned from today's conversation. And with that, I'll leave my speech here. Thanks, everybody.